Yo, what's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor. It's Tuesday night. It's 10 o'clock, and this is the C3 Podcast, bringing you that Panther talk from the fan perspective. I'm here. I'm excited. I'm ready to hang out with my boys. What's up, fellas? Mel Mayock is back. Is this 3 weeks in a row?
Yeah, I think it's some kind of record, man. 3 weeks in a row, but hey, I'm gone next week, so I got to make the most of tonight. Looking forward to it, man. Tuesday nights are my favorite night of the week.
That's awesome. We also got our boy, that freaking Puerto Rican, back in effect. My philosophy, how's it going?
It is going outstanding. I'm in the house, and I'm ready to take this to the next level. Let's make it happen.
Word up, word up. Way to bring that energy. I'm glad everybody can join us for the C3 Podcast, episode 1511. Special teams getting special. We've got a great show for you tonight. We've got a C3 exclusive interview with Panther cornerback and newly acquired free agent Teddy Williams, the fastest man on the planet. I'm super excited to bring you guys that. We'll talk about what's hot on C3. We'll hit you a little finish that thought and factor fiction. As always, we're going to deliver those frigid cold ice up picks at the end of the show. So stick around for that. The interview with Teddy Williams will be about 10:30, I'm thinking. But before we get started, I want to essentially say what we say every week, and that is follow us on Twitter, because that's where we rule. We rule the show on Twitter. @cat_chronicles is where it's at. You can check CarolinaCatChronicles.com for the hottest Panther fan news. Also, if you want to go ahead and sub up while you're watching on YouTube, just go ahead and click the subscribe button. It'll do us a favor. It'll do you a solid. If you can't watch every week, you can download it on iTunes. Most of the time on Stitcher, we've been having some problems, and it's crazy when TuneIn Radio is working better than Stitcher, which it has been. So you can get us all your favorite podcast players, and if you just want to go straight to the website, you can get all the shows archived there as well. Guys, I'm ready to get started. Are you pumped?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. We are just, 10 days from the draft?
Is it that right? Close? No.
16
days.
16.
Yeah, so
I got it engraved in my memory.
I'm so ready for this thing to happen. I'm so excited about the big C3 draft party that we're having. We're having special guests on. We're having all kinds of people make appearances, talk about the draft, what their teams did, and how they feel about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. You got to make sure to tune in.
Hey, Joe, rumor has it we're actually going to have somebody at the draft in Chicago calling in for the draft.
That's absolutely right. We are going to have an actual at the draft correspondent call in and talk with us for a few minutes. It'll be early in the draft because this person's team is picking very early. But we will have somebody there to give us a little bit of what it's like to be there, the atmosphere, who they've seen there. It'll be fun. It's going to be a great time.
I can't wait, man. It's going to be great.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the show, fellas. For y'all that are watching or following on Twitter, you can tweet the show using the hashtag C3. But what we want to jump in with, our opening segment, What's Hot on C3?
Austria. Good day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
No, I'm just getting warmed up. Here's Charlie facing the fire, and there's George hiding in Big Daddy's pocket.
Dylan and Dylan, because I spit hot fire.
Take a flamethrower to this place.
What's hot on C3? All right, fellas. So the Panthers dropped the ball, but picked up a peanut in Chicago. That's the latest news. Charles Peanut Tillman, 34 years old, now joins the Carolina Panthers secondary. Tell me about this addition, Joey. Do you like it?
Well, I have to be totally honest and say that at the very beginning, when I heard the news, I was skeptical, just because of the age factor plus the injury factor. So I was not thrilled. I was wondering why they made the move. But after talking with some people, it dawned on me that this could really be a good move for us. He's got size. If one thing he was while he was in Chicago, he was a playmaker. He made plays. He affected games in a big way. And if he's able to just do a little bit of that here and stay healthy, I think that's the biggest key for him, is if he can stay healthy, we'll do well.
Mel, Joey brings up a great point. He makes plays. The peanut punch, right? Is that what he delivers? He has 42 forced fumbles in his career. Is that, first of all, it's an insane number. I can't even believe it.
That's pretty amazing. You know, Greg Olson actually tweeted out, "Can't wait for my buddy Peanut Tillman to join the Panthers. Their forced fumbles are going to go through the roof." That's what the guy's reputation is around the league. So, yeah, I mean, 36 interceptions. I mean, the number one Panther interceptor of all time is Chris Gamble with 27. So Peanut Tillman's bringing 36. Pretty amazing.
Playmaker, well, he is 34 years old. He's only got like 7 more years in the league than, who'd you say, Gamble?
Mm-hmm.
Before he retired. Now, he is a little older. He's long in the tooth. In fact, he's the second oldest player on the Panthers team now, behind Chris Cole? Something?
Colin Cole. Old man Harper?
Yeah. Old man Harper isn't as old as he looks. He's just got those white patches that are tough on him. And he plays old. Yeah. My question also is, Joey mentioned the durability and the health. You know, he's traditionally been a very durable player. He played 99% of his games, but the last 2 years he's had 2 season-ending injuries, both triceps injuries, torn triceps or torn, like, up in here. My question is this. I saw the injury last year. It was in that. It is kind of weird when you remember an injury from another team in a game.
I remember it too, yeah.
You know, and you know why? It was a funky game. It was that game that marked kind of the falling apart of San Francisco, where it was clear there was no coming back for San Fran. That was where Jay Cutler threw 3 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter against the San Francisco 49ers to bring them back, and it was just over. But it's like his arm fell off. So my question is this. Did he come with both arms, Joey?
I believe he is healthy and recovered. It is peculiar that I believe, honestly, the injury was to the same tricep. I believe it was. So I think that is a bit strange. You would think after the second time around rehabbing, it's probably in pretty good shape. And I would imagine he's healthy. I don't think, they'd have brought him in if there were some questions about that.
Hey, Big Q's tweeting the show, Platinum Style Media. He's got a couple of things to say about Roman Harper. First of all, how old is Roman Harper? I feel like he's like 33 probably. I think he's the same age as Steve Smith, maybe, which would be 34. So maybe he's like 3 days younger than.
Well, now I looked it up on Wikipedia. It says here he went to high school with Fred Flintstone.
Oh. And Platinum Style Media, I'm pretty sure that's Big Q, said either way, the addition of Tillman can only be a good thing. Can't see how it could be a bad thing. I agree. You know what I mean? First, he's going to bring a lot of experience. He is a playmaker. If anything, that peanut punch, dude, and he can mentor the young guys, and maybe he buys us some time at the cornerback position because, you can't. I don't know if we could just get it done with Ben Wickery and Josh Norman. Maybe we can.
Yeah, I think his value is going to come less on the field of play and more on the practice field and locker room is where you're going to see the true value of making this signing.
Kind of like Roman Harper last year. When we had Ben Wickery, Sticky Wiki on the show, he raved about how important Roman Harper was. And maybe you see even Tillman's value increase if he can stay healthy towards the back end of the season, just like Roman Harper's did.
Right.
Now, how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm glad it was his tricep instead of his knee or hamstring or something like that, because the DBs, their legs are their best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got a feeling he might surprise you. He might actually come out and be, earn a big-time payday a year from now. Yeah, I think he's got some gas in the tank. Yeah, I think he's got a little gas left in the tank.
He won't be with Carolina.
No, that's the story of our defensive backs, right? Big Money says Carolina is where DBs come to get paid by somebody else.
Right, that's exactly right.
All right, let's see what else is hot on C3. Ultimate Draft this week went up, where all-team offense draft versus all-team defense draft. JP Wary put up a scenario. What if we went all offense and then went all defense? So he did 3 picks for each side. On the offensive side, it was DJ Humphries, Philip Dorsett, Cedric Ogbuehi, and on the defensive side, and then on the defensive side, he said Shaq Thompson, Nate Orchard, Ronald Darby. Mel, you're our draft guy. What do you think about these?
Well,
Actually, tell me that. Who won, offense or defense?
Oh, I'm going to go with the offense there, man. Yeah, I'm not a huge Shaq Thompson fan, just because I think he's a little undersized. He's a smaller version of Thomas Davis, and I think Thomas Davis excels because he's a great combination of speed and size.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Thomas Davis is big, or I feel like I agree.
Yep, but I love Humphries. I think that's a good solid first round pick there. I don't think he's going to be the guy, but if he were to be, he would be a good pick.
Can I interject on that note, Aaron? Anthony Rizzuti, who's a Panthers writer over there, he writes for Bleacher Report, and he's a Panthers writer over at PFF, Pro Football Spot. I really hold a high regard for his opinion, and in his opinion, Humphries was the only real ready left tackle that could come in and make a difference on day one. I
think he's one of 3, so I'm pretty close to that opinion too.
All right, what do you think about
I hold your opinion in high regard, Mel.
You do or don't?
I do, of course I do.
All right. Just checking.
Of course he do. Philip Dorsett, the fastest man, one of the faster guys in the combine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like him? Are there any concerns about this guy, Joey? I feel like you were excited about him going into the combine. Is he small? Are there concerns? Panther Truth, who's a commenter on C3, thinks he's a little too small. Thinks he's got stone hands.
I think he is he's definitely on the smaller side. He's just as fast as greased lightning. I don't think he's quite as fast as Teddy Williams, but maybe if we draft him, we can watch him race. That would be exciting. I like him better than I do. I like his size. If you could put his size with Lockett's skill set, I think you have a perfect small receiver there. Because Dorsett.
Who would you rather have, Lockett or Dorsett?
I would have to go with Dorsett because I think his frame is more of a muscular frame, where Lockett
5'10", 185 is not too bad. A little on the short side, but not,
Yeah, he's not tiny. He's not a pygmy.
Right.
Yeah.
No offense to all the pygmies out there.
Right, no offense to any pygmies.
All the pygmies watching this show, sorry. Because we know the pygmy audience is...
We do have a big pygmy following. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, any concerns with the idea of Cedric Ogbuehi in the 3rd round? Now, Panther Truth, again, I'm going to go... a lot of Panther Truth comments because he dropped the mega comment on the website on this story. He said Cedric Ogbuehi's not going to be there in the third. I've got guys on Carolina Pro Football Talk.com that they were saying that they wouldn't touch Cedric Ogbuehi at all. And these guys are coaches. They're concerned about his size and what that knee, how that knee is going to affect him. They're worried that that could have a long-term effect on his play.
Did he tear his ACL?
Yes.
In a bowl game, so late in the year.
Mm-hmm.
But he's supposed to be. Of course, they're saying he's recovering well, but what are they going to say? He's not. Like his guys coming out of his.
Have you seen this dude? I mean, like working out.
No.
He is like a brick house, man. I mean, he is not your typical hog molly. It's big and fat and slow. I mean, this guy is a in shape, toned dude. I mean, he is a badass. So, honestly, I don't think he's going to be there in the third either. I mean, there's rumors out there that he could go in the late first. He might even be in play at 25.
Holy
I mean, this guy, he is one of the three that I said could come out and make a difference for the Panthers. Now, I don't think he'd be ready to start week one, but if the Panthers think he could be the guy long term, they'd be willing to let Michael Oher play for the first 8 weeks and then let Ogbuehi come in later on. I mean, the guy is a talent. He's got skills that not many people on this planet have.
Could he be better than Jake, what's his name, that was there the year before, Matthews?
No, really?
Yeah, they're both Texas A&M guys, and yeah, I definitely think so.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think that Jake Matthews guy might be more polished right now.
Where did he finish last year in the PFF rankings?
Last.
Dead last.
Right, smelling Byron Bell's stinky shit. All right, let's talk about the other side. Shaq Thompson, Nate Orchard, Ronald Darby. Any reservation? Well, how about this? This is Panthers Truth comment. Like I said, I'm going to lean on him on this in sparking this conversation. Shaq Thompson is probably the most overrated player in the draft, he says. A second or third round talent who's overvalued in the first. He isn't nearly as fast as most think. His 4.64 40 was the 11th fastest by a linebacker at the combine. He's critical, and his critical 1.72 10-yard split is even worse. Bottom 10% for outside linebackers, 30th among linebackers combined. Only 2 slower than him, he said. Change of direction time, average. Is he an overrated player? And does this, Joey, how about this? Tell me, finding out he's slow at linebacker, does that make him more suspect in transitioning to strong safety? Or does that help the case?
Well, we were talking about this earlier. Mel and I did we were guests on another Panthers podcast, and we were discussing Shaq Thompson. And I see him more as some similar role to how Thomas Davis came out of the University of Georgia as a safety and played 1 year at safety for the Panthers and excelled, did very well for a rookie. And then the following year, he came in as a linebacker. He bulked up and came in as a linebacker. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe Shaq Thompson ran faster 40 at his pro day at, is it Washington?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at Washington. I think he ran a 4.5. Now, that's a little bit faster. But yes, that's sort of a role I see him in. I see him being able to come in maybe a year at safety if the need's there, and then switch to linebacker to fill the role that Thomas Davis has now. Now, that's not to say he's as good as TD, but if he could come in and learn from him for a year, maybe 2, maybe he could do something.
How you feel about that, Mel?
The things I like about Shaq Thompson is he's very instinctive. I mean, he can dissect a play very well and then dart between 2 blockers very well and get to the runner. and disrupt plays. But my problem with Shaq Thompson is he's just a tweener when it comes to his size. He's 6 foot tall. He's 222 pounds. He's the same size as Landon Collins as a safety, but he's not quite a safety. He's not quite a linebacker. So, and you know what? His best position might be running back. He averaged 7 yards a carry as a running back.
I heard that.
You know, it's crazy. So when I'm talking about a first rounder, I want to know what position they're going to play. I don't want to take a chance. So to me, I agree with Truth. He's a second-round player. However, he is a good football player. You know, I think a lot of times we get too wrapped up with the underwear Olympics, and we talk about their 3-cone shuttle time and their 20-yard split.
Wait,
you know,
wait a second. The 3-cone shuttle time is the most important because that is what Justin Hardy did great in, son. What's up?
I hear you. But, you know, I saw a great clip, a great video. If you haven't seen it, go to Panthers BR, a Brazilian sister website down there. They did a video of Sam Mills, and there was a little bit of a clip from Sam Mills that says they do the 40-yard dash, they test for the bench press, but they don't test for the heart. Maybe they should come up with a test for the heart of the player. So that's one thing I don't know about Shaq Thompson. Maybe he's got the heart of a lion, but I'd wait till the second round for him.
All right, we got Teddy Williams. Speaking of fast in speed, we got Teddy Williams coming up at 1:30.
Can't wait to hear it, man.
So stick around for that. One last thing, what's hot on C3, kind of breaking. It's not like super breaking news, but Smoke Wagon, our buddy Sam Slater, keeps us up to date on all the prospects. He hunts them down. There's a great list that he keeps updated, a prospect list of visits on the website. You can check it out. Just go to the website. There's a nice tab. We keep updated with all the players and by position that the Panthers are meeting with and shopping. 3 come out today, 3 new names to this story. Panthers showing interest in Perryman, Algalar, whatever the guy is from
Easy
USC.
for you to say, brother.
Spit it
from
out
USC and Gordon, Melvin Gordon. What do you? All these guys, Smoke says, add speed if we could get them with the Panthers. Those names are all interesting. Do you guys anyone that sticks out to you specifically, Mel?
Well, the most interesting thing for me, and probably the most entertaining for Panther fans, is if you could say that USC wide receiver's name 3 times fast.
Is he a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Or is he
Nelson Aguilar.
Aguilar.
He's a good
Don't
player.
Aguilar with me.
You know who he, you know who he reminds me of is Victor Cruz. So he's a great player that projects to be in the slot a little bit. On the average side, he's about 6 foot, 215 pounds or so, something like that. But he's a good receiver. I swear there is a Twitter argument that's ongoing about can we really take a USC wide receiver and feel good about it. I, for one, am going to pass on it. Yeah, I'll pass on it.
There's a lot of bad blood there, especially in the ultimate draft story talking about Utah being a good school for Carolina. USC not so good for Carolina historically. Joey Perryman is the kid from UCF, right?
That's right. He is. He's a big guy, good size for a receiver, and ridiculous speed. Ran a 4.25. Was it, Mel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's huge. He's huge too.
Right.
You know what that jackass did? He caught a game-winning touchdown against the ECU
Hail
Pirates.
Mary.
That's when I fell in love with him.
Well, he didn't even do anything. The Pirates just blew it. So,
They did.
But big and fast. I think going in the first round might, a lot of guys are saying he's creeping up, being like the number 3 prospect. I think that is just a little draft hype, combine hype.
Yeah, there's some questions. There are some questions about him.
Yeah. Panthers are taking him to dinner, I believe, tonight and spending tomorrow with him. He's high up on their list. There are some questions about him. There are people that think his route running is poor and he doesn't play as fast as his speed says. But, man, when I watch him, Dude's not afraid to go across the middle. He will catch the ball. He'll run over inferior-sized DBs, and he'll keep going. He had a 14% pass drop rate, but you're talking about an inferior quarterback he was dealing with too. You know, at 4.25, there are not many people on this planet that can wake up and go 4.25. And he's not afraid.
One that goes that fast and drops the ball all the time. Ted Ginn Jr. He does seem to track the ball well, though, from a couple of highlights that I saw.
Yeah, I think he's underrated as a receiver. Some people strongly disagree, but I think he'd be a great player.
I think right now it's time for a little finish that thought.
Sometimes I just don't get people. Human beings are so weird. Who talks in front of a camera by themselves for fun? Who thought that was a good idea? These ideas, some of these things that you use every day. Who's the guy or a girl that was like,
this makes no sense.
Good idea.
That's a good idea.
That's right. It's time for Finish That Thought, where I pose a thought to my buddies and they finish it. Pretty simple. Joe, here is the first one for you. Michael Crabtree to sign with the Raiders is
like Michael Crabtree calling for hospice, because that is where receivers go to die.
Man, you didn't they get like kind of a name that we wanted last year? The dude from Green Bay. It seems like everybody always wants somebody. What's his name?
James Jones.
That's right.
What happened to him? Did he die?
Dead.
Hospice, he's dead. All right. So Joe says that's the place where people go to die if you're a receiver, especially. Mel, Michael Crabtree to sign with the Raiders is
a big relief. I'm glad we did not sign him. A lot of people out there are saying we need another wide receiver to sign, and people were saying him or Greg Jennings would be great picks. And man, you watched Crabtree last year. He just did not have it anymore. He's fast enough, and he's got pretty good hands. He's got good hands, but he cannot create separation. So let the Raiders take him on.
All right, speaking of wide receivers, here, next Finish That Thought, and I'll go to you, Mel, since you brought his name up. Greg Jennings visiting with the Jaguars is
another relief. I like Greg Jennings. I think he would be all right, but I think we need to go rookie with our next wide receiver. I think you go one or two with wide receiver, and we're much better off than somebody who's another year away from retiring.
I like that. I think this is that, you know what, you just get younger and you get faster. And Dave Gettleman has mentioned the need for speed. And what we see with this is that, you know, are they gonna be as experienced? Are they gonna, you know, have those moments? Maybe not, but maybe they have some of those explosive type opportunities that these other guys couldn't. Now, the thing is, you know, would it be? It just depends on who we get in the who we can get in the draft. But hey, you know, you never know. We might be able to get somebody like this cheap later on. We just wait until no one picks them up. So relieving, but good Lord, if Greg Jennings signs with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't know what he's thinking. So
that'd be good for them.
Our boy down in Brazil said he thinks we need to draft 2 wide receivers. No Jennings right now. All right, let's jump in. We got Teddy Williams coming up in just a second. But before that, guys, I heard sometimes that people buy things on the intrawebs. Joey, have you ever heard this?
I have heard this. I believe it is actually, it's named after a region, really a well-known region in Brazil, ironically enough.
Where they speak Portuguese as they chop it down?
Yes, they speak Portuguese. It is Amazon, Amazon.com. And we're such big fans of Amazon, and we think that they're such a great website. We have actually added a link to CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
Save the Amazon!
As you're reading our well-written articles and our extremely accurate draft forecastings, take a look up at the tabs, and you'll see a spot there, Amazon. Click on it, and it will take you to Amazon.com, where you can do all your shopping: books, clothes, accessories, car parts, sunglasses,
You know
whatever you
what?
need.
I have sent flowers to 3 different people this past week. Neither one of you guys, sorry, but
That's
friends of
fine.
mine that had funerals, things like that going on in their family. I sent flowers. I went to that link on catchronicles.com, went to Amazon, sent out those flowers. Didn't cost me a penny more, and it helped C3. I thought it was pretty cool.
And that's the beauty
Amazonian
of it.
flowers.
It doesn't cost you anything extra. You're already at the website on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Just click the link. It'll take you there. You can do your business, and you're helping us out. Who is us? It's Panther Nation, and that's what we're all about.
That's right.
Word up. So go to C3, shop on your Amazon, drink and prime, get your stuff. Costs nothing for you. Helps Panther Nation grow. Pretty simple. I like it. Also, Joey, I know you've been talking with Roaring Riot. They got some news that's on the secret. We can't tell it just yet, but RoaringRiot.com is the place to go if you want to go on the road and party with Panther fans and take over other teams' stadiums. So go to RoaringRiot.com if you want to go on the road with Panther fans. They arrange it. They put all the things together. They put your hotel up. They get you free. They get you beer. They have a party for you. They bring hot Carolina girls. The whole deal. You go on the roads. You show those ugly Atlanta Falcon fans how ugly their ladies are. You take over their stadium. They had to pump in crowd noise just because Roaring Riot is such a riot. So go to RoaringRiot.com. Go on the roads. Take Panther Nation. Let them know it's a riot. Guys, we've got some good news. We have been killing it. C3 has been locking down these new player interviews. What we've got is we have been tracking down all these new special team aces that the Carolina Panthers have added. And tonight we bring you the fastest man on the Carolina Panthers, Teddy Williams. Here, we're going to bring it to you in 3 parts. We'll break it up and talk about it. Here's number 1. Now I'd like to welcome one of the newest Panther free agent additions, special teams ace and defensive back, and even sometimes wide receiver, Teddy Williams, to the C3 podcast. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, there's been a lot of talk around Panther Nation about just how fast you are. And we wanted to know one simple thing before we got started entirely. Are you fast enough to get into bed underneath the sheets before you the lights go out after switching the light switch?
I think only one guy's mastered that, and that's Muhammad. But you know, I might try one day. Today might be the day I try. Maybe my guy Ted again might have something to say about that.
We'll call you Always Ready Teddy then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we wanted to get, we want to just know kind of a little bit about you and how you got involved with the Carolina Panthers. Did the Carolina Panthers reach out to you?
Yes, they did. My agent actually contacted me as I was about to head off to go visit back with my past team, Jacksonville, and negotiate some things over there.
What was the meeting like with Dave Gettleman?
The meetings over there were great, man. I love the organization. I love the coaches and just Coach Rivera and all those guys over there, Coach Wilkes. It was just great hospitality and A1 organization. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Did that make you feel good about the signing process and the 2-year deal? It was a 2-year deal, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Did that experience make you feel good about where you're coming to Carolina?
Oh, it definitely does. I mean, you always want to feel like you're in a family environment, and that's the feeling I got from when I first stepped foot in the building. So it was just a great feeling. It was real good atmosphere, the coaches, even some of the guys that were in the weight room working out, the trainers, and just the people in the building. It felt great, and it felt like we could be at home there, and I would love to come there every day and work. You
mentioned Ted Ginn Jr. With him and his speed and your speed, how deadly could you guys be as a duo on special teams?
Ted's my guy, man. When we were in Arizona together, we used to always just mess around with each other, and I used to always tell Ted when I'm on the outside and I'm playing one of the gunners and I'm protecting him, I tell him all the time, Ted, don't worry about getting hit, man. If you get hit, I'll make sure that I take care of you. If I got to take you out to eat or anything, I'll take care of you. So he knows that he can trust me over there, and I trust him to take it to the house.
Have you guys ever ran a foot race?
You know, the funny thing is when he first started Arizona, that was the first thing that everyone wanted us to do, but I was coming off an Achilles injury, so it never happened, but we'll always keep that under. We both have those track backgrounds, but we'll always let the speculation be around.
Yeah. Oh man, that's the best way. The anticipation is building. You played football and ran track growing up. Did you play any other sports?
Yeah, I was one of those all-around athlete guys. I played baseball, basketball, ran track. I did a little bit of everything. I think my mom said I had so much energy that she just felt like she had to put me in something at all times.
Yes, I've got 3 kids, so I know all about that. Let them run it out. Okay, you've got to take a lot of pride in playing professional football after not playing college football. No question you're one of the fastest guys in the NFL. When we were looking up some of your stats, we saw you ran a 9.90 100-meter. Is that right?
Yeah, I love that. And I did that my junior year, 2009 in college, and it actually put me number 1 in the world for 4 months.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's world-class speed.
Number 1. Yeah, the entire time I was number 1. The guy sitting behind me was Usain Bolt, so people used to always mess with me about that.
Holy moly. How fast is your 40 time then, really?
I ran a 4.26. It's kind of funny because my pro day, I had my own private pro day because of the way my situation was. And I ran a 4.26, and I guess the scouts didn't believe it, so they wanted me to turn around and run the opposite direction, and I ran a 4.27. So it was a funny thing, and I take pride in my speed and everything.
So was that second one, the 4.27, was that a 40 uphill?
It was against the wind.
Against the wind. I got you. Okay, let's talk a little bit more.
The person was wind-aided, so I ran it against the wind.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, that's Teddy Williams. He is the fastest man in the world for 4 months. What do you guys think about that? Usain Bolt was behind him for 4 months, trying to catch up to him.
That's some giddy up, man. That is some real giddy up. It's really exciting to think about a 9.9, right? And he just gets faster the farther he goes. So, I mean, he's a perfect gunner. He's going to get down the field fast.
That's crazy fast, man. You think about it, in 100 meters, when you get to 40 yards, you're just really beginning to get to your top speed at 40 yards. So I bet if he was to run 60 yards, he would blow away some of those guys. I don't think Ted.
How far is 100 meters in yards?
100. It's about 100 yards. It's 100 and is it 103?
Or would it be a few less?
No, it's about 3.3 feet per meter.
Right. So it'd be like 100.
So he can run the length of the football field in 9 seconds.
9 seconds. Yeah, under 10 seconds.
Man, I hope he picks up a fumble.
Now, you remember, well, see, that's his weakness. If you remember, he was the one that went down and hit Philly Brown, caused Philly to fumble, but he didn't pick it up. Philly picked it up.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we're going to ask him about that, about Philly Brown and blowing him up and who got the best of that. I thought some things, though, that stuck out to me were his desire and his willingness to take on that role on special teams. You know, there wasn't, and not to say that he wants to only be a special teams guy, but I think he knows that, hey, this is where I could really step in and help this team immediately. So I like that. Teddy Williams, Carolina Panthers cornerback, and special teams ace. We're going to bring another clip to you right now. Let's talk a little bit more about your role with the Panthers. What is your expectation with joining the Panthers? Are you looking to start out on special teams and crack into defensive or offensive rotation, or have you guys already put something else out there?
Most definitely, I'm going to start off on special teams and really try to up the team, because they were telling me that was one of the struggles that the team dealt with here, and I want to be that upgrade in that position. But I definitely want to be a part of the defense. I think my offensive days are done. That was something Coach Bruce Arians had of a mastermind plan out there in Arizona, so I'll leave that with him. But I definitely want to crack that rotation on defense and contribute and be a part of that great defense that they have already.
Yeah, we could really use your help on special teams to start. That's enough even just there. We were ranked last statistically, so we could use your speed. How about this? Speaking of cracking into the defensive rotation, what are your impressions of Coach Wilkes and Coach Rogers? Have you had an opportunity to meet with them?
Yes, I actually did. I spent the entire day with Coach Wilkes, actually, and I briefly with Coach Rogers for about 30, 45 minutes. And just Coach Wilkes off top, I just love his mentality. Just being with him, being in his office, going to lunch with him, and just having casual conversations with him. You can see his passion. You can see the aggressiveness in him. And that's the thing I love about coaches. I want a coach that's aggressive, that's going to want to let us get out there and just unleash the dogs on the offense. And Coach Wilkes is like, they just want to get out there and they want to be the aggressor. You know, it's all about being the predator or the prey. You step on the field, what are you?
How do you think they're going to help you grow into that cornerback position, aside from your special teams duties?
Just working hard with Coach Wilkes, just getting in the film room, knowing what he wants, learning the defense, learning my techniques, really working on what I need to work on to better myself as a DB, to learn the scheme. And ultimately, the biggest thing, when you're out on the field, you want your coaches to know that they can trust you. And then you want your teammates to know that they can trust you. And when you have the other 10 guys that can trust you, you have all your coaches knowing that they can trust you, that's when you can get out and play free. A lot of guys get out there and they're thinking, and when you think too much, you play slow. And if you're out there and know what you have to do, everything is just reaction and you can play fast. So using my speed, if I'm out there thinking, I can't use my speed because I'm thinking too much. So knowing what I have to do and having that trust and that belief from your coaches and your teammates, you'll be able to play fast, and then you can see that film of me playing fast and see that speed on tape.
Yeah, you totally got to make it instinct. You know, you study so much that it just infiltrates your DNA. How about this? How do you think you've improved as a player since coming into the league?
It's crazy how much you can improve mentally over physically. I'm around a lot of guys. The thing that I tell people about me having gone to a few different teams is I've had the great situations of being like with guys like Larry Fitzgerald or Reggie Wayne or Patrick Peterson, Antonio Cromartie, Terrence Newman. All those guys have taught me different things that have helped me mold into the player I've become. And mentally, once you get that mental stability in the NFL, you can be able to go out on the field and put the physical part to it. And ultimately, that's the hardest part about this league, I think, is the mental stability. Once you get that part down, you can be that physical player on the field.
Guys, what do you think about him breaking into the defensive rotation? Joey, can we use his help at the cornerback position? Is there an opportunity? Is this one of those Dave Gettleman diamond in the rough type finds where a player might find a good opportunity, a good home?
Yeah, I think if you factor in the Peanut Tillman signing and let Tillman work with Teddy and instill some of what experiences Tillman has had over his career, yeah, I think definitely it could pan out to where Williams could get in and contribute on defense.
Mel, you said earlier that Charles Money Johnson said this is where cornerbacks come to make the money. We got him on a 2-year deal. Is this an opportunity for him to show that he can play in the NFL beyond just special teams?
Well, he's going to get an opportunity. You know, honestly, I don't have enough film on him at a defensive back to know if he's got the ability to turn his hips and stay with wide receivers, get down deep. I don't know him as a cornerback. I know he's fast. I know he's a good special teams player. But he's going to get an opportunity to come in and play a nickel, maybe a dime back type of situation. And earlier you said you don't know if Benwickery and Josh Norman were going to be enough. Well, I tell you, you want to have some depth because you get one guy injured, it's a domino effect. So it's good to have somebody that's got a shot.
Yeah, and he's been in the league a little bit. Not like, I mean, he's not a veteran, but, you know, it's not his first day, so he's not just completely raw physical talent. He, like he said, he's worked with some good people. He's been there with Patrick Peterson, Terrence Newman when he was with the Cowboys. He's played against some top-notch players in camp and practice on the offensive side when he, you know, is going up against guys like Larry Fitzgerald he mentioned, but also who's the other guy? The John Brown, the kid that kind of broke out last year for the Cardinals.
Robert, is it Robert?
Josh Woods or something like that. I don't know. Whoever that guy is that we don't care about. The guy that took Ted Ginn's spot, essentially, though.
Right.
So interesting. We'll be watching him. You know, do we think he's going to step in and be a shutdown corner or even make the rotation? We don't know, but we do need his help on special teams. We've got more from cornerback Teddy Williams, special teams ace, fastest man in the world, temp for 4 months. Here's Teddy Williams. Have you met with any Carolina Panther players on the defense reached out to you and kind of welcomed you already?
Actually, none of the guys were in the building. A few of the injured guys were there. But the only guy that I've really talked to was Ted. He was kind of in the recruiting process of trying to get me over there once he found out what was going on.
Awesome. We're excited to see both of you on out there in black and blue. We got a couple of fun questions for you because, like I told you before, we're fans that are tackling this from an angle of having a good time rather than trying to break some story or something like that. So I'd read a statistic somewhere that said that Panther fans consume 26% more hot wings than the average U.S. citizen. So I guess my question is, are you a fan of hot wings, and what's your favorite flavor?
Oh, man, I love wings. I love them. And it's crazy because I love hot wings, like the hot, spicy ones. I've grown up on spicy food, and I love the hot ones. So it's only one way to go. When you get a hot wing, don't get a mild hot wing. Get a hot wing.
That's what I'm talking about. I like that. The ones that clear your sinuses out. All right, so So we know. So look, just to be straight up with you, most Panther fans don't really know much about Teddy Williams, other than you're really fast, that you like really hot wings, and you turn pro without playing college ball, which is remarkably impressive. What do you want fans to know about Teddy Williams?
I want fans to know that you're going to get a team player, a guy who's going to play from the beginning of the end. I never look at the scoreboard during the game. I go 110 miles an hour every play, and I'm going to always give it my 110 effort every down. And I always want to do the best thing for the team in order for us to come out victorious at the end.
Holy moly, what a great way to put it. All right, last question, and this is we call ourselves Carolina Cat Chronicles. We call ourselves C3 because it's a mouthful. We all have nicknames, and we give all of our guests nicknames. I'm the professor, but because part-time or my real job in real life is a college instructor. My co-host of the podcast, who was my college roommate, his name is that freaking Puerto Rican. We named Benwickery, another cornerback for the Panthers, Sticky Wicky. He liked that one. And fellow free agent signee Jason Trusnick, we called him when we interviewed him last week, Carolina Bankin' Trusnick. So we have some nicknames for you. And we'd like to see if you like any of these. So, number 1, Always Ready Teddy.
Hey.
All right.
I like that.
Number 2, because what we did know about you from when you played in Chicago, is that you blew up Philly Brown, even though he got a touchdown out of it. So we call you Teddy Filibuster Williams. Or now, you like that one?
See, then Philly gonna be mad at me for that one.
Oh, well, you guys can just race over it. He's pretty fast, too. You can just race over it. Settle it on a foot race. You're the filibuster. All right. How many guys give you flack about your name being Ted Williams with the baseball player?
You know what's funny is when I was in Arizona, Fitz came up to me one day, and he called me. It was after a game. What was Ted Williams' nickname? Well, one nickname I was given because of Ted Williams was my first head coach, Wade Phillips. He called me the Splendid Sprinter because I think Ted Williams' name was the Splendid Hitter or something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So he called me the Splendid Sprinter.
Okay, well, I got one for you on the Ted Williams talk. You know, here's a fun fact for you. They always used to say Ted Williams had like the fantastic vision, like he could see anything. And they used to say he could, if you held a Bible up on home plate, he could read it from second base. Yeah, I know. All right, but did you know, here's another fun fact for you with Ted Williams, and this is where the last one comes from. Do you know that when he died, they cut off his head and they froze it cryogenically in like liquid nitrogen? So in case they could ever rejuvenate or clone him or something, it's weird and it's crazy. So we were thinking, since he's got his head, we could just call you Teddy the Head Williams. It's not as good. I know that one's kind of lame. I'm leaning towards Filibuster Williams. Or
the first one. Always ready, Teddy.
Always ready, Teddy. Or Teddy, no, I ain't the baseball player Williams.
You know what? I'm pretty solid in baseball, though.
Okay. Well, look, we're gonna go with
third on my list.
Since you like Always Ready, Teddy. We're going to be at training camp this year, and we hope we can catch up with you and listen for us, the crazy fans screaming from the background, Always Ready, Teddy.
Sounds good.
All right, man, I'd like to thank you so much for joining the C3 podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Guys, that's Teddy Williams, Always Ready, Teddy, or the Filibuster. The Filibuster. I like that one. That's my favorite. But Always Ready, Teddy, guys. What do you think about that? Is this a third player interview two weeks in a row consecutively?
That's right.
Who's taking over? We'll change our name to the Takeover.
Hey, man, it sounded like he was having a really good time during that interview.
We were cutting up. Like, I thought, man, my favorite part is we started talking about hot wings, and my man, I felt like he was on his way. You know, when I called him, he was in his car. I thought he was driving the BW3s.
But you know what? That's a great point, though. If you're going to have hot wings, don't get a mild hot wing. I mean, what's the point? If you're going to get a hot wing, get a hot wing.
That's it.
Joey, what kind of hot wings do Puerto Ricans like? Milds? Teriyaki? Asian flavor?
No, they like pollo guisado hot wings. That's you guys don't know nothing about that, though.
No, we don't. I like my hot wings hot too, like make your eyes tear up type hot.
Make you
Like,
wet.
you know,
Yes.
what people that have bad sinuses like me, we always like spicy food because it helps clean you out.
That's
Makes
right.
you feel normal for a second. All right, guys, that was pretty. You know what? I was excited. We're gonna bring you more player interviews. We're gonna catch up with these guys at training camp so stick around with that. And you know what? When we bring a player on, it's always
This is good news, people.
It's always
Yes.
good news, people. Guys, it's time for one of Joey's favorite segments, a little Fact or Fiction. Fact or Fiction! That's right, it's Fact or Fiction time, folks, where I tell you a fact, and you tell me if it's true or not. Fact or Fiction. Joey, Mel Mayock put out a top 10 current Panthers list today on the website. You can check it out. Star Latule was not up there, but KK Short was. So, fact or fiction, K1 Short deserves to crack the top 10 and Star doesn't.
That would be fiction. Mel had an extra high dose of crack cocaine today, and he forgot to put Star on that list. Yes, Star was injured last year, but the year before he made a tremendous difference for our defense. So he deserves to be up there. And also, additionally, Mel forgot to put Kelvin Benjamin up there. So those are the everything else looked good.
All right, Mel, this should be easy for you since you put up the list. Fact or fiction, KK deserves to crack the 10 and Star didn't.
Well, KK did. That's straight up fact. As T-Money would say, it's a straight fact. I mean, I love Star. I agree with the freaking Puerto Rican. He makes a big difference on our defense. But you look at it, KK is so underrated. That guy is so important. He will get the long-term contract before Star does. All things being equal now. According to our friends at ProFootballFocus.com, he was the number 9 defensive tackle in the league. Highest rated Panther defensive tackle. And he didn't even start. He didn't even start for us. But he played all 16
for like
games.
The first 6 games or something like that. I like K1 Short a lot. In fact, he's one of the jerseys. Like, he's on my jersey list, which all 10 of those guys are.
Well, you know, then people think you're putting adjectives on your shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just be like, hey, that's just what you called me my whole life.
Exactly.
All right, Joey, fact or fiction? Byron Bell, the Tennessee Titans and the Carolina Panthers are in a whose shit stinks more contest. Byron Bell visits with the Titans. So, the Titans, their shit stinks more than the Carolina Panthers. More than or. Fact or fiction?
Fact. I believe or is a better tackle than Byron Bell. How desperate do they have to be for crying out loud?
Mel, Titans and the Panthers are in a whose shit stinks more contest, and it turns out that the Titans shit stinks more. Fact or fiction?
I'm not even sure what that means, but I think or is a better tackle than Byron Bell, if that's what you're asking.
My question here, it's kind of like this, is that you ever like first, I ain't ashamed to drop a deuce in public place. All right.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right. But the worst thing is when you go into a bathroom and somebody blew it up before you, and then you got to blow it up. So it's like a double blow up. It's like the atomic bomb. So that when you walk out, somebody's like, dang, man. So that's kind of what Byron Bell in Tennessee is like.
He's double deuce? Is Byron Bell now the double deuce?
He's the atomic stank bomb. All right, last fact or fiction for you guys. Josh Norman will get a second deal with the Panthers. Mel, fact or fiction?
That better be a fact. See, he made my top 10 when both Kelvin Benjamin and Starr did not. The guy is on the rise. I hope and pray that he does.
All right. You know what, guys? In fact, I need to let Joey go last on because it is time for a little Ice Up Sun. That favorite segment where we deliver those frigid Ice Up Sun picks, where we tell someone in the world, somewhere out there in the universe, to get their mess together, to ice up Sun. Mel, I hear you got something that you want to say to people.
Oh, I do. And for those of you out there in YouTube land, you can see his face up on the screen right now. And for all of you that are tuning in tomorrow and listening to us on the iTunes or Stitcher, taking us with you wherever you go for the best Panthers podcast out there, just imagine Tom Brady hanging his hand up, waiting for a high five, never getting it. Happens all too often. And anytime I can give an ice-up son pick to Tom Brady, I'm going to take advantage of it because this is arch enemy number one of the Panthers. Right? Well, 1 and 1A. He's right there with Meg Ryan of the Falcons. But this past week, Tom Brady came out. You know, this guy, he's the quarterback for the Super Bowl champs, 4 Super Bowl rings, got a hot supermodel wife. You think he's just got everything going for him. He goes out to throw out the first pitch against the Boston Reds or against the New York Yankees. And here is the best, quote unquote, the best quarterback in the league. He can't even get the ball over the plate. Freaking Puerto Rican, I think you could throw the ball over the plate. What you think?
I think I could throw it over the plate with my left hand, and I'm right-handed.
Right on. Professor, I think you could. What you think?
I was throwing the baseball yesterday in the backyard. I can let it fly. And I think this is that if my job was to throw the ball for a living,
yes,
whatever ball it was, I wouldn't one-hop it. Maybe he was nervous, but how could you be nervous if you've been on Super Bowl stage? Maybe he was nervous because it was Yankees, Red Sox, and he actually is a Yankees fan.
Well, you know, I think the truth is that I don't think it's a coincidence. I think this was like the same day the preseason schedule came out. And he saw that he's got to come to Charlotte and play the Panthers in week 3. That's the dress rehearsal for the season. So he's got to play 3 quarters against that Panther defense. He's going to see K'Wan Short, Starla Tulele, Big Money Johnson. I think he was nervous. I think he was scared. So Tom Brady, your pretty self, can't even throw the ball over the plate. It's time to ice up, son.
I feel like he's not going to be the first or the last time somebody tells Tom Brady to ice up on this show. Joey, I actually got your clip ready, so I want you to go next. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready. I don't want to pick on these guys, but it seems the last couple of ice-up picks, they have given me no other option. The Cleveland Browns today released their new uniforms. I guess a week, maybe 10 days ago or so, they released a new team mascot kind of logo sort of thing that didn't look any different from the old one. But with these uniforms that you can see on the screen, they went crazy. They have 9 different options. They can cater them. Look, if you're looking on the screen, you can see they're all mismatched. Those are the number of options they have with these uniforms. I thought this was the NFL. I didn't realize we were trying to model ourselves after the Oregon Ducks. Is this franchise and team so bad, and they have such little hope that this is what they have to do to get their fans excited? I think it's a shame. I think it's a sham, and I think it speaks to the level of, I can't even say mediocrity, because
desperation.
Desperation. That's the level of desperation this organization has reached. So to the Cleveland Browns organization, I say, ice up, son.
Ice up, son. There's so many that you can't even, you won't know when they're different or not.
No,
you know, I mean, like, they're like, hey, we wore a different one last week, and there's just so many, you can't tell.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, I'm going to close it out with, I'm going to take this to England. We're going to England, folks, to 24-year-old Kyle Iverson of Lancashire, England, who busted into a convenience store back in February with a 12-inch knife and told the clerk to give him all the money in the register. And it turns out the clerk was 54-year-old Karen Brown, his ex-mother-in-law. Kyle isn't with her daughter anymore, but they did have a child. So he robbed his ex-mother-in-law. Turns out, even though Kyle was wearing a mask during the robbery, Karen recognized him. Quote, he was shouting and swearing, and straight away I knew it was him. He's one of those people that has a certain type of walk. So she gave him $950 and then called the cops on him. So, Kyle Iverson, if you're going to rob a convenience store and rob your ex-mother-in-law, make sure you change your funky gait, right? and in the meantime, it always sucks when your own mother-in-law tells you to ice up, son.
Amen.
This is the C3 podcast, guys. You can catch us every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. where we bring you that Panthers talk from the fan perspective. Joe, sometimes people like to converse with you on the intranet, on the Twitterverse. How can they do so?
You can reach me at Joe Riolano, or you can type in my name as it is on Twitter, Freaking Puerto Rican. Hit me up. I follow back, and we can talk Panthers football.
Mel Mayock, sometimes people like to get your draft perspective. I hear you're also pretty active on the Twitterverse. How can they find your work and get in touch with you?
Right on. Well, you can always follow me on Twitter at Panthers Drafter. I'm always out there ready to talk Panther draft, Panther football, anything NFL, anything Panthers, anything Charlotte. You know, I'm also the Panthers analyst over at drafttech.com. Great website for all the draft prospects that are out there. There's a new mock draft coming out tomorrow. Check it out. But, hey, I'm not going to be on next week, so let me give a little plug for our show 2 weeks from now. We're going to be doing the NFL draft preview, and then on draft night we're going to have a draft party. We're going to be giving away T-shirts. We're going to have special guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come join us.
CarolinaCatChronicles.com, the C3 podcast, every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock, where we bring you that fan talk. Breaking down the Panthers, delivering it every Tuesday, guys. I had a great time on the show. We'll see you next week.